Face centered. Speech off.
Hi guys, it's VI Life with Kelly, and it is the morning of the 20th day of the year. January 20th, it's Thursday, 2022. What's the plan, guys? So, with that being said, actually, wow. Um, Guys, I have not made it on live all week long. I am so sorry. I have not been there for the last 3 days. This video is going to be like a chit chat. It's going to be including a story time today, some reflections of the year. I'm also going to have a hot topic. I want you guys' opinions. So definitely like, share, comment for sure. Subscribe, you guys. And thank you so much for the continued support. So yeah, I haven't made it over there. I do want to let you guys know that you can access these IRS letters that you need in order to complete your tax returns this year. So if you received the advanced child tax credit, you need a letter from the IRS, and if you can create an account, you're gonna have to create an account with ID Me. But it's on the website at irs.gov, and then you can access any letters they've sent to you, and that will expedite you being able to file. You can also log on to your payroll account with your job. Most companies facilitate that now, where you can pull down your W-2. Of course, if you received unemployment, you're going to need a letter for that. Your tax document for that. There was another, and then do not forget you need your form for your Square or Cash App or Venmo or PayPal totals. If it's over $600 and the items were not marked as gifts, you will need to include that on your tax return as income. And so if you do not include these forms with your tax return, it will be held for 6 months to 12 months. And you need to make sure you get the forms and the numbers need to align. So like if you wanted to take your pay stub somewhere because you see the year to date on your last paycheck last year, and you're thinking like, this is good enough, whatever, I've been working here for whatever amount of time, I'm just gonna do that. That will also hold your refund up, because what your employer reported versus what you reported, everything needs to line up. So definitely don't give the IRS any reason to pause, break on your return. Definitely get the W-2s, definitely get the letters, irs.gov. Unless if you're old school and you just want to wait for it in the mail, those are the forms that you're waiting for. You're waiting for your advanced child tax credit letter. You're waiting on your documents from, and you actually could go into your account for these letters from PayPal, Venmo, Cash App. I'm trying to think. And Zelle, right? Zelle. So definitely want to make sure that you comply and you get that added. And then going forward, any transactions you do, you need to make sure that they're labeled as gifts, because it's not going to be able to be altered. So whatever that company reports for you, that's it. And they automatically exclude the gift contributions if they're labeled as gifts. It needs to say like in the memo, gift. And that's that. So that's my tax tip for the day. Okay, guys, so I made myself leave the house today, and it was actually really nice outside. I wore this sweater. I had on that coat, if you guys see it. If you don't, I had on a black coat, and I started to wear some Uggs, but I really like to kind of stay girly when I'm out and about, and I feel like I get like a little too comfortable sometimes. So I put on my Sam Edelman boots, which are really, really comfortable, by the way, and still really girly. So I enjoyed that. And guys, so while I was out today, it's so amazing how good God is to me, because literally, I decided, I said, you know what? I haven't caught Marta in a while, and it's literally at my building. So I'll just walk around to the other side of my building and I'm there. So I went out, caught Marta. It was a like, I don't know. Okay, the my stop that I went to was about maybe a 2 or 3 minute ride at the longest. And then I walked around the corner and got to the next stop. And then that ride was like 5 minutes maybe. And so I, on the way to the second stop, like walking around the corner where the first bus let me off, I met these guys from France. And so, anyhow, I met these guys from France, super nice. They just got here, I don't know, within the last few weeks. And they were looking for work, and that was really great. And so, they helped me get to the bus stop because it's a little confusing off of Piedmont and Peachtree. And so, anyway, while we were walking up, the bus was pulling up, and that was that. I was like, okay, cool. So, after that, when I got off at my next stop, the driver walked me to Barnes and Nobles. So that's where I got off, at this plaza with Barnes and Nobles over here. So he walked me to the sidewalk at Barnes and Nobles. And then literally when he left me, I start walking down the sidewalk. And then this other lady walked me from Barnes and Nobles down the plaza to the elevator I needed. And then when I got off the elevator, this these couple of girls were coming out the nail salon, and then they walked me to the place of business, right? And I was like saying, look at how good my God is. When I walked out my house, I said, it's already a fantastic day. Angels go forth supplying every single thing I need, covering every single detail, right? Boom. I'm out there, I'm going, holding my peace. I prayed over my home. And so every step of the way, like, I was covered, covered, covered. I was like, okay, this is cool. So then, when I leave from the office that I was going to, I literally got my Be My Eyes volunteer, so they used the app off my phone. The elevator was super close to the office, so I got on the elevator, I came down, and I started walking up the sidewalk, and I met this lady, and her name was the same name as mine. She was from Puerto Rico. Okay. I was like, wow. She told me her name. I was like, wow, we have the same name. It was unbelievable. So anyway, she's like, well, do you mind if I help you? I would love to help you. Is it okay if I touch you and hold your arm? So we held arms, arm in arm, and she walked me all the way to the end of the plaza to the bus stop. So then she said, well, where are you going? I was like, oh, she was like, where do you live? I was like, oh, I just live down the street. She was like, oh, wow, I could have just took you home. And her kids were, she's waiting on her kids to get out of school. And their school is like down the street from where we are. I'm like, no, no, go and enjoy, your day. No worries, no worries. Anyway, so I stood there waiting on the bus and everything because where I was going was just literally, what, 5 minutes, like on the same street. Literally, I'm on Peachtree still. So, needless to say, she came back, guys, and it was so interesting because it was like I had a little more than an hour to get to the post office, and I still wanted to stop into the bank because I was supposed to have gone earlier, and like my whole day just went totally different than I expected from the beginning of the morning. But anyhow, guys, so she comes back. She's like, hey, I'm like, she's like, are you sure you don't want me to? I said, well, the thing is, I'm going to go to the bank right now, so like, it's down here on Peachtree, whatever. She's like, no, like, so I'm like, she's so cute. And we'd already exchanged phone numbers, right? So because she was like, I'm always here, like, every day waiting on my kids. If you ever, like, need anything or you're over here, blah blah blah, like, I would love to help you. I was like, look at the Lord. And for all of you all who don't know, my full name means Lamb of God. It's Hebrew and it means Lamb of God. For me to meet her and her name to mean Lamb of God was such a phenomenon in its own, because I was praying about things and I had divulged like some information, things that was going on with me with a celebrity friend of mine. And I normally would never say like anything, but when I met the gentleman, he was so forthcoming with me knowing who he was. And I thought that was so interesting. Wow, guys, I didn't even know I was doing this video with no glasses on. I wonder if this is gonna go up or not. I don't know. But anyways, guys, he was so forthcoming with me about me knowing who he was, and he wanted me to remember his name. And I was just thinking like, wow, I didn't know if he was just like being that way because we're neighbors, like we live really close to each other, and it's like we're bound to see each other. And so he just wanted me, if I hear his voice or he comes up to me, he wants me to know who he is. Or was he saying that to me like, if you need anything, like message, you know what I mean? Like, I am this person. I didn't know, but I just took it for goodness, and kept moving, right? So today, as I was leaving, I confided in him some things that was going on, and I asked him like for his advice and different things. And anyway, he's out of town, so we'll talk later. But anyway, so I was just thinking like, boom, I got to put it out there. We have to share information in order to be connected to the answers, right? We have to be, transparent. We have to be selective about who we are transparent with, but we definitely have to choose and then, be at a place of moving on the advisement, right? Like, we're faith walkers, right? Got to do something about it. Like, once you get the information, apply it, right? So anyways, guys, so as the day was going on, because I was just moving on, like, thank you, Lord. I don't know how this is going to come together, but I know you know how it's going to come together, because I needed to get a lot of things out the store too today. And I was like, oh, I need to get this, that. So anyway, so as the ladies came back, right? So she came back and, excuse me, she came back and she's like, are you sure this and that? And what trips me out is how loving people are to me, because they're just like really concerned, and like they'll be like, no, I don't want to leave you. And it's so deep because I'm like that about people. Like, I'm real, like, well, are you okay? Like, if I'm walking down the street and I come across a homeless person, and if they speak to me or anything, whatever happens, I'm gonna be like, so what's going on? Like, I'm gonna bring life into the whole thing, like, so how's your day been going? If they want to walk with me, we're gonna walk together. And if they're hungry, I'm gonna get them something to eat. Like, it's gonna go down. It's not gonna be any of that here you go get away stuff. It's gonna be recognize them as a person, like you're valuable, and connecting with them, like, like I've always been that way. And it's like to get it back, all it's like the biggest hug for me all the time. Like, people just always are so loving. And not to say I don't run across, occasional rude people, occasional, like, getaway. Of course, I go through, variables, but consistently, regardless of that, I have a lot of loving interactions, and I know it's God and angels operating through them. And so, she's like, are you sure? After she's saying that, I'm like, let me get in this car, because she don't be a nervous wreck wondering about me until she feels that I'm safe, and I feel that. And so I'm like, yeah, let's go. Okay, cool. Like, I'm gonna go to the Wells Fargo right here. So anyway, she took me and stuff, and she's like, so what, are you sure? So what are you gonna do from here? I was like, no, I'm probably gonna be in here for a while, and then I'm just gonna go. I just live around the corner. It's gonna be okay. So anyway, so she took me. I met her 15-year-old daughter. She has twins. I'm like, oh, she's got the kids I wanted. I wanted twins. I still want twins to this day. I really wish my daughter was like twins or triplets, because I had such a beautiful time with her. Like, she's just such a blessing as a baby, as a little toddler, as a little elementary person, even as a middle schooler. All of it was just such a delight having her in my life. So anyhow, I just wish if I would have had like triplets, because it just, you know what I mean? It's that moment in time when, you know, ignorance is bliss, you guys. For somebody like me, everything that, childbirth was about, it's really hard to sign up for that again. You all, it's so hard, like I was married then, so it's like I had a lot of comforts, I had my home, and you know, and that was cool. But one day it dawned on me where this child was about to come out of. I was like hysterical, like, what did I do? Why did I let this happen to myself? And then it was just like that moment, like, well, ride or die, baby. We're gonna have to survive this. We're gonna have to survive this. And so, anyway, guys, I survived, right? And so praise the Lord, but at the same time, has it happened again? Childbirth? No, I'm not married. So it's like, definitely no. I cannot see myself not being married, bringing a child into this world. Like, that sounds like a nightmare on Elm Street. So I just, but anyways, guys, so I'm like, oh, she's got the twins, and then she had a girl and a boy, so they're twins, brother and sister. And then she has her older daughter, and it's just cute. And they're only like 2 years apart, so it's like they get to grow up together. It's like, oh, this is great. So anyway, I always wanted 4 children, so I'm looking at her like, you might end up with another one, because you'll be thinking you're done, and then you mess around and have that last baby, you know. And so, um, it was just cool. So they, rode with me up the street, and then we went. And so then, guys, I went in the bank and did what I needed to do. So then the gentleman was like walking me out the bank, and then he's like, okay, well, where are you gonna go now? I'm like, well, I need to go to this bus stop. And I'm like thinking this bus stop I'm looking for is like right there, like across the parking lot. So I'm like, I think it's over there somewhere. He's like, okay, well, let's go. Because he's like, I'm like, well, is it okay for me to just kind of walk across the parking lot, or what do you think? He's like, no, it's kind of far. He's like, it's kind of far. I'm like, he's like, I'm gonna go with you. I'm like, okay, that's cool. So then we get on the sidewalk. I'm like, okay, so let's go over there because it should be like right there. It's like, isn't there a pole right there or something? Anyway, he's like, no. So I keep describing everything to him. Like, don't you see Headmasters, which is a 24-hour barbershop out here? I was like, Icebox should be over there, the jewelry store. And so I'm like, that should be like right there on Piedmont, and then the little stop should be like right here. So then he's finally like, oh, I do see a pole down there, but it's really far, and I see like construction. He's like, I don't know, and y'all, I was literally like, okay, cool, I'll see you later. Like I'm still saying that. He's still like, are you? He's just standing there. Are you sure? I don't know. No, I don't think so. Really? You sure you want to? I don't know. Y'all, he did that. So I was like, okay, that's the Lord again. I was like, okay, what do you recommend? I was like, I was like, you know what? Just go on and take me up to Peachtree again right here. And I'm just going to go on and cross the street here. And I'll just go to the one right there. He's like, oh, I like that so much better. Right? So when we get to the light and everything, I'm like, okay, I'm at the line so I can cross and everything. He's like, yep. So this guy walks up and he's like, hey, are you getting ready to cross the street? And he's like, yeah. He's like, well, do you mind if she goes with you, this and that? And he's like, oh, that's cool. So he tells me his name and we walk across the street together, guys. I kid you not. So we walk across the street. So I'm like, so are you going? I'm like, I'm going to the bus stop over there. He's like, oh, you are? I'm like, yeah. He's like, oh, I'm going too. I'm like, oh, okay. So we get all the way around to the bus stop and we're chit chatting a little bit. And then I was like, well, where are you going? I was like, where were you going to go? You know, thinking that I'm rerouting him. He's like, oh, no, I'm going to Ross Dress for Less. I was like, oh, you're going to St. Marcus? He's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, I'm going down there too. I'm like, great, so we can cross the street together down there. He's like, yeah. I'm like, look at the Lord. So literally we go down there, we cross the street, so we're still talking and everything. So then he's like, okay, so where are you going? I was like, I was going to the post office. I'm like, do you know where FedEx is over here? He's like, yeah. I'm like, that's where I want to go. He's like, oh, I know where it is. I'll take you. I'm like, okay, cool. So we keep walking, and mind you, one reason why I wanted to do this was because I really haven't exercised in a good while. And I literally haven't left my house since last Tuesday, I think it was. So what is that, guys? That's what, 8 days ago. So, I know y'all are watching this on Thursday, but I'm just saying. So, guys, I sat up there and walked all the way to the post office with him, and our Target is across the street from the post office. So we walked to the Target together, and he was like, well, are you sure you're going to be okay in here from here? And I was like, yeah. I was like, they always have somebody to help me shop in here, and I was like, if I was just getting like one thing, I was like, I would just go on and ask you to stay in here with me, but I don't want to hold your day up any further. And like, by the time I got to get dog food, like, I'm gonna catch a lift home. It's not gonna happen. Like, I'm not carrying dog food, like, so it's like, that's the end of my walk. So anyway, he's like, well, thank you so much. And I was like, really? Right? I'm thanking him, for walking with me. And he told me, no, thank you so much. He was like, it was such a blessing walking and talking with you. He said, my spirits were really low today. He said, I lost my brother just a few weeks ago. And you just really meant a lot for me today. I was like, wow. Here I am thinking he's doing me a favor, and here he is thinking that he's being favored, blessed. He really enjoyed. I was like, wow. And that happens to me so much. Whenever I leave my house, people tell me how much I inspire them and how they love it when they see me walking down the street, doing my thing. They're like, this girl don't let nothing stop her. She is out there getting it, moving on. I'm like, wow. Now, I don't know if I ever told you guys this before, but about 2 years ago, it had to have been a little bit less than that. It was about a year, like 3 months. I think it was in September 2020. It was like the fall, the beginning of fall, so it was still like a nice day, but it was starting to rain a little more and it's cooling off. I was walking home and it was getting ready to storm. The dark clouds rolled in and I asked God, I said, I want to walk home, but I don't want to get rained on. I said, Lord, hold the rain for me until I get home. Do you know the clouds split apart and the sun shined down the entire walkway home? My whole walkway was lit by the sun peeking out of the parted clouds. I literally, right when I was saying it, it was sprinkling. And the sprinkling stopped. And I walked, because I had bags in my hands and everything. And sometimes I don't want to pay Lyft or an Uber to go home because sometimes it's like $20 and I live around the corner from the shopping centers. It's like, I don't want to. Or sometimes I just finished eating and it's like I just really wanted to walk home, like, or if I have something on my mind, like I love walking. I love being out and just walking and getting that fresh air. I'm a runner, like I get on the elliptical. It's nothing for me to stay on there for an hour and a half or to run 3 to 5 miles on a treadmill. Like, even though I haven't ran on a treadmill in a long time because it messes with my knees. And they tell me they got some really good ones now, but I just stick with elliptical. But I'm just saying it's therapeutic for me, right? But when I spoke that prayer and those clouds parted for me, God was saying to me, like, you don't got no worries. I am with you always. I'm right here. I'm right here. And I remember my mom, you know, I had to go somewhere and it was dark and I forget what I needed to get. And I left the house. I was like, well, I gotta go get this. And I left the house and, this is during everything that's going on. So there was like barely any drivers. So I really had to be picking and choosing like when I was gonna go to the store and what I was gonna get because I was gonna need to come back home and I was gonna have to walk, because it was just like no drivers, or the drivers that were available, the prices were sky high. And I'm one of the people affected by, everything that's going on, like, businesses closed, like haven't been to work in forever. And so anyway, at that time, I'm like going to the store. So my mom happened to call me when I was walking back and she's like, what are you doing? And I'm telling her, she's like, no, why? She was like stressing big time, I think it had to been like November. And I was like, Mom, God got me. Like, it's angels all around me, front, back, side to side. I said, I definitely understand what you're saying. I do not want to put myself in harm's way or be, reckless. You know what I mean? Like, just take advantage of grace. You know what I mean? No, I was like, but I needed what I needed and I had to get it right now. Like, that's just what it is. I was like, so the Lord know I'm getting in and out. He's covered me down and everything is good. And I remember her saying like, yeah, but my mom always like worried, and anyway, I got in the house and then I told her that same story I just told you, all about how the day I was walking and it started raining, and it said it was going to storm. And God parted the clouds for me. And do you know, when I walked through the front door, the rain poured down. So it's interesting. I've been listening to Cindy Tram and Dr. Bill Winston teaching on the power of prayer, teaching you how to pray. And Linked Up Church has started a series. You should check it out, teaching us effective prayer, how to pray, the purpose of prayer, how that is to apply to your, how that is to be applied to your daily life. I literally ordered the prayer collection by Dr. Bill Winston. I had ordered that in December, calling in for prayer, and they asked me, I think I ordered it in November actually. I don't quote me, November or December, and they were like, today's deal was if you made a donation, you could get this series. And I was like, it just hit my spirit because I've been praying so much for the last 2.5 years. My prayer life has been on fire, like nonstop. Sometimes I'm just praying for hours in the house. I have evangelists praying. I'll be praying on top of prayers. Like sometimes God just put it in my spirit, like just pray. Like yesterday, which as in Tuesday, there were circumstances going on, and I prayed for about 3 hours straight, out loud, just praying, and going to sleep listening to these different teachings. And so the next thing I know, I'm listening to Cindy Tram, which I love this woman of God. And, tonight I was cleaning my house, and I looked on there, and it was the prayer. She did part 1, and part 2 followed. It just came right up right after prayer part 1. And it was amazing, like her testimony, her story, things she claimed for her family. And I mean, check her out. Like, check all of it out. It's so good. And like throughout the beginnings of what's going on in life right now, in 2020, I started listening to evangelist Fernando Perez. I was listening to like a few different guys. It was another guy, his name is like Carlos something. I'll think of him in a minute. But they caught my attention. They came up as suggestions. I was listening to Cindy Tram, and they came up as suggestions. And I was gonna click them off to finish listening to more of Dr. Cindy's teachings, and at the time, all her videos, she would have these lengthy prayer sessions. I'm talking about 58-minute videos of just praying. And so I would be just praying with her, And then evangelist Fernando came on, and he just had like all night. It was like 11 hours of nonstop prayers. And I would just be praying with him, watching God just manifest, and just illuminate my mind, like just meditating. But it was just strengthening me, because I was like, what is going on, in my life? Like, what is going on? And so just ever increased. And it's like, even this year, first 20 days of the year, I have been constantly calling on God, like, I need more of you. I need more of you. I need 5 times more of you. I need 500 times more of you today. And just speaking it into existence. Like, Lord, I need to get this done. Give me energy. Like, for the longest, I was waiting on this energy to come from myself. Like, oh, I need to just get more rest. I need to do this. Like, I was applying all these natural methods, and Lord just made it apparent to me, like, ask me for the energy. And I start saying, like, Lord, I need energy. Inspire me. Give me energy to want to clean and deep clean, and give me a mindset of figuring out how I can find this and see that, and utilizing the help of the volunteers on Be My Eyes. Like, give me the tools. I mean, literally, I said that, and literally, I got up today, like, yes, I'm cleaning, I'm throwing all this stuff away, I'm cleaning up today, I'm organizing, like, Lord just got my whole, because when you pray, you got to rest, and you rest mentally and physically. Like, go to bed comforted that God heard you and answered you. And then, thank you, Lord, this is the day you have made. He produces it for you in that day. Because literally, I pray and I move on. I'm not like nagging God, like, are you gonna do it? Are you gonna do it? Right? When are you gonna do it? When are you gonna do it? Like, I'm not doing that. I'm just praying and releasing. And it's like God is just releasing in response, like, oh, she know I do. She know I got it. Like, yes, you know? And so if it pops back up on my mind, I'm like, Lord, I don't know how this is going to come together, but I know you know. And that's more than enough. That's all I need to know. Like, and I'll just keep saying that if it pops up in my mind, like, praise God, it's taken care of. Praise God, like, I'm going to get to the store. I'm going to get home. Like, no issues. Hallelujah. If I look on the Lyft app or whatever and the prices are astronomical, I'll pray them down. Like, literally, I have seen the prices jump down from $30 to $8, $7 and some change. Like, it'll just happen. And I'm not questioning it. So it's just like the confidence you have in our Father, it will build and grow the more you're trying him. Like, all day long, you're like, Lord, I need this to happen. Lord, I need that to happen. You talking about work projects, co-workers, superiors, supervisors, like, whatever it is, you speak on that all day long. And send your guys, sorry, and send your angels to
Speech on. Face center.
there. I
Speech
just
off.
wanted to make I was sending anyway, and then send your angels to handle it for you. As you go throughout your day and you see everything being covered down, everything being worked out, you should have so much confidence knowing God is hearing you and answering you is not a coincidence. You know what I'm saying? And you just keep moving forward in your day. You keep talking like that over your children, throughout your experiences at home, over the dogs, over, your spouse, whatever's going on. Like, don't let it just be up in the air. Like, speak on that thing, through that thing, like, until the conclusion of this, until it's manifested. So, praise the Lord. So it touched my heart, that he said that and everything. And and so then after that, he went on and left the store. And then my friend, happens to be my favorite Target. Like, I love the representatives at this Target store. They're so sweet. They're so nice all the time. And they prioritize me. Like, whoever picks, ends up coming to help me, they're like, okay, cool. Let me, and they'll take their time no matter what. If they're like, I'm going to help you. I'm not going to rush you. Whatever you want to get, it's fine. And anyway, I didn't know Target price matches, guys. So if you didn't know that, there's your another little tip for today. So look how blessed you are for watching all the way to this point. Target price matches. So if you see it on Target.com for lower or another competitor for lower, they will price match. They even price match with their prices. Like, let's say it's something you buy all the time. Like, for me, I buy their blackberries and blueberries all the time. So I know that their blueberries are about $3.19 every day. And I know those blackberries are about $2.49, $2.59, like no more than $2.79. So if I come in the store and all of a sudden the blueberries are $4.99 and the blackberries is $5, whatever, I'm like, hey guys, what's going on here? So anyway, initially I'm just like, wow, why are you guys raise the price? Like, I'll just mention it and then they let me know, like, oh no, we price match. I'm like, oh. So they'll even price match if it's things you buy all the time and it's like randomly a higher price. And they really do. I will tell you something about the grocery store that I've noticed. Depending on what holiday is going on, they will jack the prices up. And that might be because of demand, meaning like it's selling out, it's not that much of it. I don't know. Or maybe they're covering for the overtime that they're having to have staff. work in order to meet the demand because they just got to mass produce everything. So I don't know what the justification is. I just know I don't like it. And then on top of that, I did notice different stores, depending on the same store, but different locations do have different prices. And like I went to buy Snuggle fabric softener sheets today, and literally this same 200 pack I bought last time, it was $5.99. It was like $7.59, or you had to get the 120 count of this particular fragrance if you wanted it for $5.99. I was like, wow, why did y'all? I'm like, I just paid $5.99 for this same 200 count. So anyway, they price matched it for me. So and with my dog food as well, and with my puppy pads as well, like whatever it was, they price matched it. So that's that. So guys, so we get in the Target, and one of my favorite sales associates was in the Target, Carmen, and it's so interesting. Whenever I go to this particular Target, you guys, there's this guy that's in the Target, and he's like, "Hey, how's my favorite girl doing?" Like, he always says something to me to let me know he's there. And he's like, "I'm making sure they taking good care of you." And I'm like, "Oh, you're so sweet." He'll be shopping his own self, but he's like magic to me, you guys. This man is like magic to me, because when I hear his voice, it just warms my heart, and I know he's just great. And if I'm ever in there trying to wing it on my own, because like nobody was at the front or something, and if he sees me anywhere, he'll be like, what, you need some help? And he'll go grab him. He'll be like, "I'll do, stay right here." He'll go grab him. "Help her right now, please." And I'm like, I know that's right. I know that is right. It's so sweet. But anyway, I remember one day I had like my suitcase with me, and I had on like a dress, and it was a part of my dress was like caught with my suitcase. I had no idea because it was hot that day. Anyway, he had told me like, "Get your skirt." I'm like, "Oh, thank you." Like, he's so nice, such a great guy. But anyway, so one of my favorite sales associates, she had came to help me, like, "Hey, come on, you want to get what you want to do?" And I told her I like to hold the basket while they push me around, and so it's like less confusion. So we look for all my stuff and everything, and like they were calling her periodically, and this, which is normal, they have their walkies and all that stuff. And so she's just like, "I'm not gonna rush you, like, take your time, whatever you need to get, whatever you need." And I'm like, "Oh, that is so sweet." But she ended up telling me how much she enjoys shopping with me. She was just like, "No, I really like doing this." She's like, "You always show me like such interesting things in the store I'd never seen before. Like, you always got these great recipes." Like, she's like, "I'm gonna try this, this." She's like, "Everything you got in this basket, like, what you gonna make with this?" Like, she'll be asking me these questions. And I'm like, "Wow, that is so nice." Like, it's like therapeutic. It's a mutually beneficial thing. Like, I'm thinking, okay, let me not take up all her time, and let me find this, and get these things. And I'm thinking as we're going, like, did I forget anything? Anyway, and that's what she ended up telling me. Like, she looks forward to doing this with me because it's like such a nice experience for her, and rewarding. And it's like she just thinks it's like really cool. Like, and so I'm like, "Oh," she's like, "No, they're not gonna rush me out at this time with you," because I'm thinking, she's just being like, superior customer service, like, "No, whatever, how long you need, blah, blah, blah." She's like, "No, this is my time with you." I'm like, "Oh." So, anyways, guys, side note, real quick. These guacamole Tostito tortilla chips, guys, they are delicious. I'm gonna tell y'all now, you guys thought my Cheetos Bay videos and Cherry Coke Bay videos were off the chain. You may end up seeing a sequel of New Bay. I might have leveled up, you all. I just want y'all to know, if you can get your hands on these guacamole tortilla chips by Tostitos, they are delicious. I get the mango peach salsa. It's the Target brand, Good and Gather. I eat them together, guys. That's a meal to me. I ate half the jar, standing up in the kitchen. It was delicious. Another thing, the habanero flavor tortilla chips by Tostitos, banging, and the salsa verde. And I cannot find them anymore. I bought them at the one particular Target, and when I tell you guys, I go back looking for them, and they're never there. The white cheddar Cheeto Puffs have never been there again either. I got those that one time. That was over with. So I don't know if they just pop out with these different flavors randomly, like depending on the holiday. Like, okay, for Halloween, we're just gonna come out with some new flavors and see how they sell. I don't know. But now they have the guacamole ones and they are delicious. All right, guys. Um, so she ended up telling me that, and I just thought that was splendid. Like, that was wonderful. I went up to the front of the register. We like rang up all my stuff, and so we get up to the register, and I'm like standing up there wondering like, ooh, I wonder how much this is gonna be, and ooh, I need to order a lift, and ooh, I don't even have my debit card, right? I'm like, okay, let me see how this is about to work. So literally, I had a missed call from one of my dearest friends, and I called her back like, hey, can you Apple Cash me? She's, or Apple Pay me or something, where I can tap my phone and then I can Zelle you. Anyway, so she's like, yeah, and she's like, but I never did that before, so you're gonna have to teach me what that means. I'm like, so I'm telling her, like, you go to your text messages and then you hit Apple Pay, and then it'll end up asking, like how much, you link your card, this and that. Anyway, so we're literally like, learning together. I'm telling her like, this is how you do it, and then like as soon as you do it, all I have to do is tap my phone in here, and boom, guys. Literally, ooh, which reminds me, I'm gonna do another story time for y'all. So look out for this next upload video, because story time part 2, guys. I'm gonna tell you guys what happened. But anyway, um so she does that for me. She was at the grocery store shopping anyway, and I'm like, okay, cool, so we'll call each other when we get home and everything. So anyway, um boom, that got taken care of. I got that done at the Target. Now I'm realizing, oh, I have Apple Cash, but I need to order my Lyft. So Lyft, that means I need to use actual Cash App. For me, like using my Lyft account, I have to use Cash App that sends the funds for me to order my Lyft. And the way that I do everything, I get points and miles. The way that I should do a video one day teaching you guys how I set up my accounts so I get miles and points everywhere. So like at Target, all my spending, and they have all these Target deal of the days. So like if you spend so much within so many weeks, you get $20 gift cards, $10 gift cards. If you buy so much of cleansing products or baby stuff or hair products, you can get between $5 and $15 instant gift cards. Like, so when I go to Target, like I'll click all the different things, and then you still already get like 5% back, and then you get 1% back overall. Like, so, I'll easily rack up, $50 on rewards, you know what I'm saying? And so then, but anyway, so with the Lyft, so I'm like, oh, I need a Cash App. And so then I was talking to my other friend, right? So I'm talking on the phone to my other friend. I'm like, can you Cash App me real quick and then I'll Venmo you? And he's like, oh, really? I'm like, yeah, because the way that my Cash App works is pays my Lyft, and then I can pay you vent back on your Venmo, because that's what he uses is Venmo, and it'll pull it out on my account. So he's like, yeah, I can do that. So anyway, he did that for me. And I felt so blessed, you all. I felt so blessed that I have friends that I've known for years and years and years, and they could just do something simple for me without any hesitation and not think anything extra about it. And literally, I was praying because I literally, I have to open up my entire life. When I leave my house, I have to be mentally prepared that I have to share my information quite a bit, to get everything done. If I want to pay for things or use my apps or find things, I have to consult other people. Like, can you look at this for me? Can you, the same friend that Apple Cash me, I will call her sometimes. Like, can you read my card to me? Or I'm at the store. I'm gonna send you my card. Can you type it to me 4 numbers at a time as a text message? Like, to be able to have people in your life that pick up the phone for you and can do that, and you can trust them, that is a blessing of God. So because of all these people that came together who helped me get all my errands, I got to get my exercise. I got to go all over my little town and get every single thing I needed to get done because of people's selflessness. I mean, just ready to help me. Just boom, where are you going? You need this one, this, and it touches me so much because their testimony is that I inspire them. Like, they're affected positively by my will, by my presence, by me coming in the store. People look forward to me coming in the store because I uplift them. That's so deep. That is so deep, you all. And this happens every time I leave my house. Every time. I inspire and motivate people with this life that I live, with the challenges that I live. And I'm thanking them and appreciating them for their time and their willingness to help me, not even understanding that they're they're so excited about it. Like, I really feel like each person, has their unique, framework. Like, whatever their needs are, whatever their wants are, whatever their love languages are, like, whatever their mix is. And it's like their reality is hard for them, right? And so, like, watching me helps them have peace about their, like, you know what? I'm doing real good after all. Like, it helps them shake it off. Like, actually, like, this whole woman is out here with a cane and that's it. And she's happy. Like, she's up here like, yep, I'm gonna get where I gotta go. I'm taking one step at a time. Which, guys, that is really me. Like, I really am, like, I really am, like, taking it one step at a time. Like, not even walking fast. Like, just taking my time and having peace. Like, I'm not hurting myself, you know what I mean? I'm not in a hurry. I'll get there when I get there, and God is the greatest. And so that's that. So I wanted to share that with you guys because I know that, we need testimonies. We need current testimonies that God hears us and that angels are real, and that speaking God's word and that staying in relationship with God and really living what we believe. It works, you all. It really does work. Um, but not but I'm working on not using the word but. So let me get into this hot topic real quick. I want you guys' opinion. It's been so interesting. My Be My Eyes volunteers are so cool. You guys, I've been like thinking about like recording them. Like, I did that one topic and I had three of them and I answered their questions and all that. But I was like um in a situation recently with um an employer. Okay, so I had an employer prior to the current world of events that we're experiencing right now, and I still had the employer even though we were closed. Okay, for a year and 6 months we were closed. Okay, and then we reopened, and I went back. So I have like a new director and they're learning. And so it's not like how it was before. Like, we don't have the amount of staff, and just a lot of things, are different. And so it was cool though, because I knew this director from their reputation. They have a great reputation. I was excited to be working, for this person. And that was that. I was like, okay, cool. So, I'm working like on call. Okay, guys. So literally, everything went well, as far as coming back. And, so I'm coming in, and my first check was messed up. Now, I've had so many peculiar experiences that no matter where I'm at and no matter what they say, I'm always like, let me see what this first checks look like, so I can see, am I working for people that respect me and respect the fact that we need to pay these people correctly, and we need to keep these people, or let me see what's going to happen here. So my first check was messed up. I was really angry about it. I was really confused. I brought it up like, hey, something's wrong with my check. Here goes the second check. The second check is like, so we go, they're like, oh, so initially they try to tell me like, no, everything's correct. I'm like, it's impossible that everything is correct. And so I started doing simple math with the director, and the person is like, yeah, you know what, we're gonna go and talk to XYZ person. So, the next time we see each other, it's like, well, I talked to him, and he's like, well, we might need to talk to someone else because everything was entered incorrectly. Anyways, guys, so this is going on like days and days, and finally I get referred to a particular person. So the person starts off like, well, if this is any conversation about benefits, I don't know anything about that. You need to talk to another person. I'm like, no. So I break down like my pay. I'm like, well, this is what is how my pay and this and that. And with this many hours, and this adds to that, and then this is that. I had this many. And so, anyways, after I do all of that, the lady's like, oh, well, that's the issue. Such and such in another department said we weren't giving out this portion of the pay anymore. I was like, oh, wow. So I told the director, who was right next to me, like, oh, well, let's go talk to her, because I definitely can't do anything for you all for less than what was agreed. And I'm just immediately thinking in my mind like, oh, I guess I'm suing these people, because I have it in writing and everything like that. So, I'm also in the mind state that I don't want to be anywhere that I don't want to, that I don't belong, and also that I'm being played with. Like, I have no energy to spare. I'm only going to be where it benefits me. I'm a blessing to them, they're a blessing to me. So, and if you can't do a simple thing like pay me correctly, I'm not going to give you opportunities to keep taking advantage of me. Like, it's not happening. So the director's like, oh, wow, I didn't know anything about that. Are you serious? So she's wanting me to contain the information and not share it with the rest of the staff. Like, you might need to look at your check. They're talking about whatever, which of course you don't, because you don't want everybody to quit. Because I've already just, I told her immediately, if that's the case, I'm not going to be here because I can't afford to be here for less than XYZ. I'm already taking, like, this is not even. So anyways, guys, so the next thing you know, she asked me, could she please talk to that department, and then we'll come together and she'll let me know what was said. So I'm like, oh, she doesn't want me to go to talk directly to anybody else because she sees that I'm not the type to just sit there and let them pacify me, like let them say whatever they say and then just be like, oh, okay, and walk out the room. I actually engage and have questions and actually sit up there and comb through the situation. And so they have to give me a real answer. So she's like, oh, she's getting ready. So she knew I was getting ready to rip this woman apart in the next office. Like, so, what's going on, So she's like, well, let me talk to her first and figure out, gauge what's going on and get with the proper, find out, the proper channel. So I'm like, yes, ma'am, that's fine. And so I left. So she guaranteed me she was going to give me some answers by the end of the day. Of course, she's still trying to incorporate her day's work. So she asked me, would I consider, coming in for half a shift? And I'm like, honestly, my feelings was just out the window. Like, no, until you guys figure out what you're doing, about my pay. Like, why would I want to come in there giving up more of my time and I don't know what my paycheck is looking like it's already missing 50% of the money. So no. So I'm just like, and she's like, well, if you if not, there's somebody here that would. I'm like, well, if they don't mind, go ahead, because I've taken another walk, you guys. So this is how I manage, stress, and this is how, I, don't act like a stereotypical black woman, So I'm sitting up here, going for a walk at this point and, looking for me something to eat, like just think about something else, prayed about it, just try not to have an attitude. And so it's so deep how I end up getting to the mall and I end up meeting this guy. I went in the mall for like 5 seconds looking at whatever. I was just really kind of turned off and trying to decide what I was going to eat. I was sitting outside of the mall on this, they have a seated area in front of the main entrance. And this guy ends up coming to me because I was standing there. I was getting ready to do a video for you guys. And he was like, you are absolutely gorgeous. And I'm like, oh, that's sweet, So we're like shooting the breeze. So he wants to tell me that he's gorgeous as well. He's like, I know you. He's like, oh, you have visual impairment. He didn't even know. And I'm like, oh, you're sweet and this and that. So he's like trying to get me to touch his face. He's like, I just want you to know I'm gorgeous as well. And I'm like, oh, no, that's right. So anyway, he ends up telling me how he's going to take these watches into the mall to get fixed, because where he was originally taking them, they were charging like 3 times as much. And so he just decided to drive down and get them, turn them in and get them fixed at the maker. So anyway, we just talk and have such. I said, you know what, let me just go on in the mall with you, because like at this point we're just still talking. Maybe it's like going on an hour. I'm like, let me just go in here with you. You can go do whatever you need to do, and we'll just chit chat, whatever, and then that's that. And I'm thinking like, I'll be on with my day. We end up like having lunch, and I'll end up trying the popcorn. I think I told you guys about this a little bit before, but anyways, I tried the Garrett popcorn, which was delicious and everything, and that he suggested, and ended up just having a wonderful day, just moving on, right? Just channeling out the energy, the confusion with the, job, and, just regrouping, recentering, and claiming a great day regardless. Okay, so guys, so move on. So now I'm texting, every few hours, like every 3 hours or so, because remember they said they was going to have a resolution by the end of the day. So I'm thinking that they're going to have an additional check printed for me and I could pick it up. So I'm texting, okay, have you heard anything? Like, what's going on? So then the next day goes by and they're still, oh, I'm figuring it out. So I just start calling people my own self, like, no, I don't know what's going on. I know this woman needs to do her own job at the end of the day as well. And then trying to keep up with this, I know how it goes. So I start calling, different department heads my own self, like, hey, do you get the numbers? Like, where are we at in the process? Like, what's going on. So thankfully, when I talked to the lady who actually issues the checks, she was like, well, we don't issue checks out of the office anymore. That's going to come from corporate. And she's like, and I'm getting ready to go out of town, so if they don't get the final numbers to me by 5 p.m., then you know then you'll have to wait till I get back on Monday. Because she's like, it's going to take a few days for the check to come and this and that. And Monday would have been the pay week. So it was like, now I'm waiting 2 weeks on my money. So I'm like, really? So then I text, my director, like, hey, she said she's still waiting on the numbers. And the thing that was baffling about that was I already told her specifically what was missing down to the dollar, everything that. So I'm just still confused, like, why? And all you have to do is tell her that's that, and that's it. So anyway, so now it's confirmed, like, no, that was incorrect. They fixed it. They put it in the system to make sure. And then the director tells me, like, that I was the only person affected in this way. Like, she was worried it was everybody on her staff, but come to find out it was just me. Now, I don't know if she's telling me the truth or not. You know what I mean? She probably saying what she needs to say, hoping that I don't share this story with any other staff members. I don't know. I just took it in good faith, like, you fixed my check, great. Let me see what happens next. So I get the fixed portion and it's still wrong. So now my feelings are even more like turned off, okay? So I'm like, why is it that my hourly is not fixed? Like, it's not that deep. And so the director had already explained to me she's only responsible for submitting a certain portion of our pay, and then we have a HR director that does everything else. So I'm like saying to myself, okay, so that's supposed to be fixed, right? So now, I get the next check. That one's messed up. So by the time I got a third check, well, technically a fourth check because they issuing me fixed checks, I'm like, okay, this check is looking right. Maybe they're on the right path now. So that had gave me some energy, like, okay, maybe it's fixed now. Cool, we're getting somewhere. You guys, so after that, we pretty much had a superior slowdown because it's Christmas and all that. But still, even with that being said, my check was still messed up. And then the next check was messed up. And I promise you guys, and I want to know how you would have handled it. Like, from jump, would you from now on be sitting with the director, like the day or so before payroll, like confirming with her, like, make sure, this is what I have, what do you have, you know what I mean? Or like confirming with the HR director, like, hey, I just want to check with you real quick, can you look up what you have for me in the system? Like, would y'all do that? Or would you be like sending emails and text, like, hey, I keep getting jacked up checks, but I want to just confirm, like, from now on, let's confirm that we all have what we think we have. Would you take that as a sign? Like, do any of you guys listen to this story like as this is a message from the Lord, like, don't work for nobody else? Because I really don't want to. I initially started working for this company for the benefits only, and because of some goals that I had, like, going on, because I had planned on, like, traveling and working in different states in this particular year that I started working for them. I had planned on working in like 3 different states that year. I had this like, mega plan for that year. I wanted to buy a few things, like I wanted to buy a home, an investment property. Like I knew I was needing to, it was just like pay off my daughter's student loan. Like I had plans that year that needed to happen. And then my daughter was going to start at Tuskegee, like, or if she was going to end up going to one of the, like, Clark Atlanta, whatever she was going to choose. I was making sure, like, wow, money's going to be dropped, so I need to go work here for the summer. I need to go. So the on-call was perfect for me to accomplish the goals I needed to accomplish. But of course, life as we knew it before changed, um, you know, spring that year. And so all that went right out the window. So, anyways, guys, I'm sitting up here and, I want to know what you guys' opinion is. So, by the time I got, this, so what was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, the fifth check, and it was messed up. I didn't even say anything else. I was just totally like, I'm done. I don't want to talk about this anymore. I just don't. And when I got the last check, and that was the last check before the new year, I said I wasn't going into the new year dealing with anything that didn't serve me from the previous year. So if you depleted me in any type of way, emotionally, physically, spiritually, like if you were a hindrance, a distraction, a deterrent, period, across the board in 2021, you were not coming with me in 2022. It was like, I'm done. And literally, um before I got the sixth check, like my New Year's Eve got messed up because the director had said we were going to be open for New Year's Eve. And if you guys watched my video on Miami and all that, I had a ticket that was going to have me leave on New Year's Eve at 2:20 p.m. in the afternoon. Well, you know, the director was saying that they were debating, like, are we going to be open or not? We had been closed for Christmas Eve weekend. So it was like, okay, I know we're going to be closed for this weekend too. Like, there's nothing going on. Like, why would we be open? So literally, I'm texting to confirm, like, Tuesday, hey, just wanted to confirm we're off, right? As I'm buying my ticket and everything, right? Like, we're off. This and that. She's like, oh, I'll confirm with you by the end of the day. So the end of the day went by, nothing happened. So then here it is, like Wednesday, and I'm like hearing, nothing again. So now it's Thursday night. So because I didn't hear anything on Wednesday, I changed my flight from the 2:20 p.m. to the 8 p.m. so that even if I had to go to work, and because we were going to close at 3 p.m. on New Year's Eve. So even if I had to go to work on 3 p.m. and I already told them I wasn't going to be available for New Year's Day until like the afternoon. So I was like, cool, it doesn't matter. If I get off at 3, that's cool. I live around the corner. I'll just go home, change, grab my bag, and be gone. And I'll still be at the airport by like 6. So, guys, I get a text message like Thursday night, okay? Thursday night, it's late. Like, oh, we're just going to be closed. We're going to have a closure all the way through the new year, right? So I'm like, oh, wow. So I changed my flight for no reason. Of course, the price of the flight I was getting on originally tripled, okay, by that point. And I'm like, we barely have had any work over the last 2 weeks for sure. So now the beginning of the year, the first, is going to be absolutely nothing. So you knew your check was going to be garbage. It was going to be, a joke. So I was like, wow, another closure, and it really got me in my feelings. Like, hold on, guys. Okay, and it really got me in my feelings. Like, this is not working out. I'm like, I'm having to have too many conversations about my pay. It's depressing me, as far as it's bringing my spirit down. It's becoming a place that I don't want to be there. I'm not having the energy. The energy's just not right. It's starting to become a disturbance for me, because now, instead of this being a place where I'm being increased and appreciated for the benefits that I provide through pay, now it's being a place, a source of um, anger and disappointment and let down. Like, it's just turning into all these things that I don't want. And it's really hitting on like past experiences all over again. And so I'm like, it's time to move on. Like, that's that. That enough is enough. Like, I would rather cut my losses. Like, I don't even care about recovering the money that's owed, because that means I have to go back there, talk about it, go through the whole, circus of fixing it, waiting. Like, I don't want to anymore. Like, and then there's other things going on. Like, my G baby had her last surgery. So of course, none of us can expose ourselves, like do anything. 'Cause then she had to end up going back, and it's taken like 3 to 4 weeks for her to fully heal. Like, she's a preemie, guys. If you didn't know, and I'm so excited that this was the last surgery. I'm so thankful. God is so good. She's been through so much, and so anyway, it's like, you know everything going on, the rises in the cases, everyone's pretty much staying in the house, like protecting themselves. Of course, January came, brought the snow, brought the 20, 30 degrees with it, and so I don't know, New Year's Eve was such a crazy day for me. Just thinking in my mind, like, wow, I've barely been to work. I'm not having any work. We're closed again. Like, it was just, my mind was like, I'm not doing this another year. I don't want my stability, my energy. I don't want it to be random anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. And God said I don't have to do anything I don't want to do anymore. So bottom line, guys, I want to know, what do you think about that situation, as far as how would you have handled it? What would be your thoughts concerning it? Like, what would you do? Would you just write a letter? Would you have been really anal about it, just like on top of them every single like step of the way? Like, forget that. You're gonna fix this. Would you have put in a 2 week notice? Like, once it happened twice, would you have just went on and let them know, like, I'm not gonna be back? Would you have ghosted them, like fell off the planet Earth with them? Like, what would you do? And on top of that, I'm on call. So on call means if I'm available, I can take the shift. And if I'm not, I'm not. If they call and I don't answer, it doesn't matter. That's why I like on call, because it's like you pick up the shifts if you can. If you can't, you can't. And if you can't call them back, you just can't call them back. Especially when they call you in less than 24 hours trying to schedule, like, you gonna take, blah blah blah. Like, no, that's not how that works. And that's like a whole nother conversation too. Oh Lord. So anyways, guys, yeah. So I want to know how you all would handle that situation. Like, I just can't wait to find out what you all would do in a situation like that. And do you feel the way I feel, that just move on? Like, we're moving on. We're moving on, and that's that. Like, that was 2021. This is 2022, and no sir, no ma'am. So that's the end of this video, guys. As usual, I love my time with you guys. I am going to do this next video on this story time that I didn't put in this video because this video is already super long, and you know, it's the wee hours of the morning, and I do want to kind of take a nap. So comment down below if you end up going to the store, staying there for a super long time just to come home and be like, oh, I still forgot 3 to 5 things. Even if you have like a list, you text it to yourself, like you was really careful, like, I'm gonna do this, you know, I'm gonna get in here, you know, and then it's still like, oh, I need like 3 to 5 more things though. Like, comment down below, let me know if that happens to you or what. All right, guys, don't forget to follow me on social media, IG, VI Life with Kelly. You can always email me, vilifewithkelly@gmail.com. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Speech on. Stop recording.